of the Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 87 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast.
The Sidney Crosby of episodes.
That was easy.
I know, but it doesn't matter.
You want a good one?
Okay, go.
I don't even know if it was 87, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Well, then don't say it because you're going to look dumb in front of the podcast.
Yeah, but if I get it, that look like fantastic. Alexander McGillney.
89.
89.
Well, in 2 episodes, Alexander McGillney's name is coming back up, my friend.
For all of you keeping track, that was Vince. Nick to my right, and I'm Junior. Nick, what are we talking about today?
I don't know. You forgot my name for a moment there. But we've been doing this for so long.
It's because usually I start with myself. But because I was, whatever.
Yeah, me, I.
Me, I, bro. This, that, this.
Well, let's remind everybody who we are and what we do here. So we are the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. You could follow us at Partial Break Pod on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a nice like and at Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey on what? What is that?
What?
So
Instagram, X, and TikTok
Twitter
is at Partial Break Pod, and YouTube is at Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey because Nick did that one and it's super long.
Wow.
I really did that?
Yeah, you did YouTube.
We're on fire so far.
Beautiful.
Anyways, just search Partial Breakaway on YouTube and you'll find us.
Guys, just a reminder of who we are because sometimes we do get confused as professionals. We are not professionals.
We pretend to be sometimes.
We are a fantasy hockey podcast that focuses on salary cap and dynasty leagues. We are also speak, obviously, about keeper leagues. We also speak about redraft leagues and all fantasy leagues. But really, we try to focus on the dynasty and salary cap league. So you'll see that a lot of our conversations are based around salary, player salary, and ceilings, long-term growth. And that's why in this episode, we're going to be focusing a lot on this year's draft. And who do we think is the best fantasy-wise for the entry-level NHL draft 2025?
Yeah, we had a lot of people tune in last week on the mock draft.
We had a lot of...
thank you for that.
A lot of good comments,
very
too.
appreciated. And we're just going to piggyback on what we did.
One guy even
We're going to piggyback.
One guy even said that he adores us.
It was what?
He says he adores us, so, what are you going to...
Adore, adhere it, whatever. Same thing. Tomato. Apparently we don't do our homework is what Nick is implying.
No, he said adore, okay? I'm telling you, I read it the way it was said, all right? Let's start this episode, ladies and gentlemen.
With the huge...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Odd Man Rush, brought to you by Sportira. Basically, we take news and notes and trends of the NHL and turn them into 30-second takes, which usually last 3 minutes, Nick's 6 minutes, all depending on how he feels. This segment is actually sponsored from Sportira, so you could visit the website at www.sportira.com for all your apparel and team uniform needs. Follow them on Instagram as well at sportira.apparel. Okay, so we'll start off our Odd Man Rush like we always started off in the past few weeks. Recap of the Oilers Panthers. Junior, I'll make you go first. Oilers dead in the water, or is there life here?
There's a little life. Anytime you have McDavid and Draisaitl, there's always a little life. But, man, the way Florida came out on the road really makes you think. But I still have faith in the Oilers. I think this is going 7.
Look, I agree with you. I think it's going to go 7. And look, by the end of tomorrow, people listening to this episode are probably going to say, you guys don't know what you're talking about. But the fact is that if you look at how the momentum swings have gone in this series, like Florida just looked like they chokehold that last game. Game 6 was game 5 was an absolute chokehold.
Masterclass of a road game.
Amazing road game, absolutely. And Brad Marchand is what, the best freaking pickup, a deadline pickup to date for a very long time. Like they're talking about him for Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
And it
You know.
costed them what? A late first, because it was a conditional that became a first.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. At the end of the day, right when his contract expired in Lama for me, so I don't have him anymore, his value just skyrocketed, right? Typical Nick. I should have saw it coming, actually. But when you see like the momentum swings, you take a look and you say, Skinner, if they're probably putting Skinner back in because it's an elimination game. The guy brought you all the way here. Yes, Pickard played well, and it wasn't his fault that he lost last game, but you might as well die with your number one guy, and your number one guy is Skinner right now. Maybe next year it's going to be different. So you put Skinner back in. He has the ability to get a shutout. You know that. He's done it this playoffs even. So if he comes in and he plays lights out, I think he could be the key for next game to bring it to game 7.
And we had put out a poll after game 5 of who would win the Conn Smythe if it were to be decided then and there. And the options were Marchand, Bennett, or other. And Bennett had the most votes.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So today was the deadline to present the first 6 players on the Olympic teams for Milan.
Oh, this
in
is definitely going to be longer than
2026.
30 seconds.
So we do have a screenshot of all the players picked. We're not going to go through every team, or you guys could quickly go. But we're just going to wait for Junior that he's not prepared, even though we told him that to be prepared for this. Like, I don't get it.
It was the only thing he needed to do today.
The absolute only thing he needed to do. Like, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're just waiting for Junior to put the screen up. But yeah, and he doesn't even remember which one we did. There we go. Look at him. And good job.
That's
Junior.
it. That's it.
That's
it.
it.
That's
I
all
don't
you
think
have
it
to
was this one, guys.
That's
but
okay.
It doesn't matter. It works. Whatever works.
There we go. You see, you don't see me, but
No, I'm not.
do. All right. It wasn't this one, Junior.
No, I see. I told you. But
all
let's
right,
carry
but
on. I'll
it's there.
find it.
Okay, go. Keep talking.
Okay, so well, really
is
keep
terrible.
talking? This is how you guys gonna do it? Okay, so I'll just before Junior puts them up, I'll start. Basically, we're Canadian here, so we'll start with Team Canada. I don't think there's any surprise. Well, there might be a surprise or two, but Team Canada, the 6 players they named: Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Sam Reinhart, Sidney Crosby, Braden Point, Cale Makar. Any surprises here, Nick?
I don't think so. I mean, honestly, out of those guys, maybe it's hard not to put Reinhardt there. But there's so many good players in Canada that I think that you could easily take Reinhardt and Point off and add another 2 superstar players, and nobody would blink an eye, right? These are just the first 6 that are named, so I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot more, and there's going to be good players left off this list.
For sure.
Definitely. There's always going to be debate, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think nobody's debating this.
Second team, we'll go with Denmark. We won't discuss Denmark. I'll just let you guys know what who the players are.
Well, the important ones, yeah.
Yeah, well, they're all NHLers. Some don't play in the NHL yet. Oliver Boystrom, Johannes Romberg, Lars Eller, Nicholas Ehlers, Jesper Jensen Abo, who does not play in the NHL, and Fredrik Hansen, who's the 35-year-old goalkeeper.
I'm so happy you're doing this segment, and it just happened naturally that you're going to be the one naming all these players. I love it. I love it.
Finland interests me just because of what happens for nations. So basically, Finland said Sebastian Aho, Rantanen, Alexander Barkov, Hiskinen, Esa Lindell. UC Saros was named in the top 6, but yet in the 4 nations, Lankinen took his spot. During the 4 nations, does this surprise that he was named in the top, like
I don't
the
think
first
these-
6?
I don't think they necessarily said these are my top 6. I just think they gave the 6 name. Regardless, you see Saros is going to be on the team, whether he's number 1 goalie or not. I don't think this solidifies him as the number 1 goalie. Depends on how the season goes. But if he struggles, doesn't mean I don't think he'll be number 1 goalie.
Well, don't forget, he's the veteran, right? So at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you want to do right by the veteran. You want to do the guy that has been at every single Finland event for the last freaking 10 years, and that's UC Saros.
Okay.
So you're giving, like,
I just
And chances are is that he's going to be the starter.
yeah, but
Even
I
though he
just
struggled
thought,
in the Four Nations.
I thought
right.
Finland, like there's other for sure players that they could have named beside Saros, but okay. Czech, we'll go quickly. David Pastrnak, Pavel Zacha, Martin Necas, Palat, Ratko Gudis, and Lucas Dostal. Any surprises here? Not
I'm
really.
a little surprised with Palat, to be honest. I didn't think maybe he was worthy of being announced right away. I think there's some other candidates possibly that could have been there. I mean, but like Vince said, like Nick said, maybe it's the veteran treatment, right? If they knew they were going to have him on the team, give him the veteran treatment, make him know right away. My question is to you guys is, do they have the full roster and they're just announcing a little bit at a time, or
No, they were just obliged to name 6 players that have to make
so
the team.
there's no definitive roster
There's no
set
definitive
yet?
rosters
Yeah,
yet.
so it does surprise me a little bit.
I'll tell you what I'm surprised about. Why is Jaromir Jagr not on that list?
Yeah, I would have taken him. So
What is he, 60 years old now?
Hey,
Still
listen,
playing. I think.
exactly. So listen, France will go quickly. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, who had his stint in the NHL, Jardin Perret, Alexandre Texier, Jules Bosco, Hugh Gallet, and Johan Utivu. So, like I said, we're not going to talk more about. Imagine France, Germany. There's some
good
interesting
players, man.
names that
Some
but
good players.
that were left out. So there's Lucas Reichel, who's named, Nico Sturm, Leon Draisaitl, Tim Stutzel, Morris Seider, and Philipp Grubauer. There's one player in Germany who was not named, Junior. You were talking about it. So what's
Yeah, how is JJ Peterka not on that original 6 list over Lucas Reichel, who can't crack a rebuilding team?
I would, yeah.
That makes little sense to me, unless there's something we don't know behind the scenes. But man,
That is an interesting one. That is an interesting one. JJ Peterka, much better player than Lucas Reichel. Sorry. Sorry, Chicago
hands
fans.
down.
I just checked to make sure he's
He's
only
German?
German nationality, and he is.
He is.
No, some of them have dual, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
But he's just German. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting
Let's
one.
skip over Italy because nobody cares.
Yeah, let's go Italy. So, Vincenzo De Biasi, Antonio De Biasi.
Where's Team Greece on this?
Yeah, exactly. Slovakia. So, basically, we have a much out Canadian Slovakia, but we have Martin Pospisil, Thomas Tatar, Slavkowski, Simon Nemec, Eric Cerniak, and Martin Ferry. I mean, are we really going to talk much about Slovakia?
Look, they're not going to be a top team, but I'm interested to see them in the Olympics because they have a couple of names there that are fun to watch. You know, like Slavkowski's a young player, Nemec is a young player. They have a few other guys as well that are not on this list. They're going to be a fun team to watch.
And
By the way, I shouldn't have said, let's just skip over Italy. It's just that none of them are NHL players, and this is a fantasy hockey podcast, so I don't want to spend too much time on NHL players.
The only one in Italy who's actually going to get some eyes on is the goaltender, Damien Clara.
Anaheim draft pick.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's the only one that's going to like.
I'm curious actually to see if there's going to be fantasy leagues on the Olympics.
Yeah,
Maybe we could do.
Well,
something
we're
like
gonna
that.
have one, that's for sure.
Yeah,
we
we're
did
gonna
one for
have one
Four
for sure.
Nations, might as well.
All right, fine.
Guys, quick question: Slovakia. If Dalibor Dvorsky makes the Blues,
Oh, I think he's on this
I
team.
think
crack
he's on
this
the team
team?
anyways.
Regardless, he's on
Yeah.
this team.
Switzerland. So they finished second in the World Championships this year, right?
They beat Canada. I remember that.
No, they,
No, I'm sorry.
it's
they lost after in the
Ehlers'
they lost
team,
the
Latvia
bronze
beat-
medal.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
They didn't win the bronze. They played for third place.
who played? Who did the States play in the finals?
Sweden. No, then they beat Sweden.
I think
Oh,
it was
Jesus,
Switzerland.
guys.
I think it was Switzerland. But anyways, Switzerland. Kevin Fiala, Nico Hischier, Timo Meyer, Nino Niederreiter, Roman Yossi, and Jonas Singletary. Listen, Switzerland not too long ago, you could say, was in the same boat as a team like Latvia, where we didn't know, or Italy, where we didn't know much players, and then slowly, the game developed there, and they've always been performing very well, either in the World Championships or stuff like that. So, what do you guys think? Like, we're good with the Switzerland team.
Yeah, I mean the guys that are not on there are young, like the Leon Bichel that Ryan from Starcastic spoke about. He's probably gonna crack that lineup. There's Pius Suter probably that's going to crack that lineup, but those should be probably the top 6.
USA Switzerland was the gold medal game
Thank you. And that's why I'm the producer and I pay attention to
USA
everything.
beat Sweden in the semis then?
Yeah.
in the semis. That's right.
Okay, Latvia. Only interesting part about Latvia is they already announced 2 goalies. So I
Because
was
Denmark beat
Yes.
Switzerland and Denmark got a beating versus Swiss.
okay. Latvia. So the surprising thing about Latvia is they named 2 goaltenders, Elvis Merzlinkis and Artos Silovs, which both made their names while playing with their national team.
Silovs is in the AHL finals right
Yeah,
now. He's
exactly.
playing really well.
Sweden named there's Gabriel Landeskog, which was to me the surprising name. Lucas Raymond, William Nylander, Adrian Kempe, wow, Dahlin and Hedman. What a rocket of a team. Sweden. Are you guys surprised about Landeskog being named already?
Yeah.
Again, I think this is more of like the veteran, nice feel-good moment that Sweden's doing by announcing Landeskog ahead of a lot of other people.
I know, but
right?
what if
They have such a
Landeskog...
good. They have such a good.
What if Landeskog comes out and everything he did last year was adrenaline? Now you're stuck with this guy.
No, I think for injuries you could
No,
replace.
what if he's not injured? What if he's just not the Landeskog we know? You know, but, I mean, look, the guys like
So then he's a 4th liner, but still he's Landeskog.
yeah, I mean the Lucas Raymonds and stuff, they'll still make the team
Yeah.
there. But
Well, Lucas Raymond got named.
did he get named? Okay, good.
yeah.
Okay, so the final team basically is the U.S.
Surprising player, by the way. For me, Lucas Raymond is probably the best player on Detroit Red Wings right now.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%. So USA, you have the Kachuk brothers, you have Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, Charlie McAvoy, and Quinn Hughes. I mean, it's not...
Not rocket science.
No,
They're
exactly.
going to have a very strong team again.
Yes, they'll have a strong team. We'll see how much they've learned from the 4 nations. But the thing is, they can't just concentrate on Canada because there are a lot more better teams. Like there's more teams. Like there's Czechs, there's Germany. There's there's still teams that can compete. So you let your guard down, any of these teams can sneak up on you, like it happened in the World Championship. So
Do you guys think Tage Thompson cracks the American team this year for the Olympics?
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. I mean, just because he's on a horrible team does not mean that he's not a great player.
listen, we heard this like
Even as a winger,
Yeah.
like I would take him as a winger.
even for Team Canada, like Brad Marchand, you would have thought, oh no, but look how he's playing now. You tell me you wouldn't take him on Team Canada right now?
Oh, I think he's a shoe-in after
No,
this playoffs.
exactly.
After
So
these playoffs, he's a shoo-in.
It'll be the next players announced will be interesting. So we'll take it from there.
Perfect.
All right.
That was the longest odd man rush segment we've ever
I don't
had.
know who put it there, but
It could have been
All right,
its own segment.
Let's keep these to a minimum, okay, Nick?
Oh, you meant topic. There's more. Okay,
Yeah.
whoa.
Robertson's news. Basically, what they're saying out there is the Stars are just gauging the market right now. They're not trading him. So Nick, go.
We mentioned this. I won't belinger the point, but Robertson news did come out, and I think it was Elliot Friedman that came out and said they are actually looking around to see what the market has for Robertson. Not necessarily that they're going to trade him. They're just, I think, trying to gauge the market to see what kind of interesting offers are out there. Don't forget, sarcastic remarks. Ryan told us that, it was a 110-point season. That's probably the outlier.
Yeah.
He's an 80 to 82 point per game player. So I'm curious to see what those trade offers are going to be like for a point per game winger.
Junior, we just spoke about him being left off the Germany team, but JJ Peterka looking more likely to move as Buffalo is no longer saying no to phone calls. Now, he is a RFA, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He is.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Eligible for an offer sheet, I believe.
yes. So, but if he's eligible for an offer sheet, in Buffalo's eyes, wouldn't you just rather them do an offer sheet? Because you're getting at least...
Because I don't think
3
they want
firsts.
picks. I don't think they want or need
Okay.
picks right now.
So
So,
you-
I would say they're looking more for a trade partner. But it works. They lose leverage now with the offer sheet because some teams might be willing more to. I don't think it's going to get to the point where they're going to offer a contract that's worthy of 3 firsts.
No.
I
No,
think the
don't
problem in Buffalo right now is they've got Tuck that's 1 year left. So what do? Do they want to sign him? What's his price? Right? And what does JJ Peterka want? they have a lot of decisions to make because somebody's leaving. Somebody's definitely leaving. And one thing I'll add while we're on the topic is that a lot of fans are going to be really disappointed with the contracts that these players sign, not just in Buffalo, but throughout the league. Because people think that like Peterka is a $6 million player. If he was a UFA, he'd be making 8.5 because that's what the salary cap does, right? It's about percentage of the cap and not what the player is worth according to the fans, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how you have to maybe start looking at it, is that these contracts signed as percentage of the cap, because the cap is going up, they're going to get bigger offers than what we're used to. So, like in fantasy, this is important because in my team, for example, guys like Kreider was making $6.5 million. Well, Peterka is not going to have $6.5 million. Peterka is probably going to be up at 8 now because that's the new $6.5 million. So we have to pay attention. Some of the older contracts look much better now.
Yeah. So talking about inflammation of contracts or salaries, what we're hearing is Ehlers is looking for a 7-year, $9 million contract.
Wow.
Now, right now, this year, next year, it looks like an overpay. But is the back end of his contract going to be discounted contract?
I mean, he's going to be, 34 by the end of his contract if he signs a 7-year deal?
So right now, he's 29.
29.
Oh,
7 years, he's going to be
36.
No, but I'm saying, like, let's say when he's 32, 33. So contract year number 3 and 4 at $9 million. He's injury prone and hasn't cracked 70 points in his career. Nick?
Yeah, so I mean, 69 points this year, 69 games played, 63 points. 82 games the year before that, 61 points. Usually he's only hit close to 30 goals once in his career, or twice, I should say, in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. Great player, and oftentimes not power play one.
Exactly, yeah.
So you'd imagine that he could hit those 30 goals if he is a power play one guy. $9 million still seems hefty, and I just finished saying that these salaries are going to be a little bit higher than you're expecting, but still $9 million is hefty, especially on a 7-year contract. If he signs for 8, I'm in.
It's also just quickly, like he plays less than 16 minutes a game with the Winnipeg Jets, and he still managed to produce on a 75-point pace. So he chose a good time to have a really good year.
He also manages to get hurt very often for someone to play 16 minutes. So
yeah,
that could be the other dilemma.
There's some red flags.
Yeah, exactly. Confirmation. Oh, it's the gossips of the Toronto.
We have to mention him once per episode.
Confirmation
yes.
that Marner's Camp's not answering calls from Toronto anymore. So basically, we know
there's
right
an
now.
amendment to that came out tonight, if you don't mind me adding. So he's likely not signing July 1st.
You didn't even make me go to my punchline.
Okay, sorry.
Whatever, man. You ruined it now. Never mind. Go.
It's because there was
He's so excited to answer this.
I'm not answering. I'm just telling you that there was an updated
All right, ring the bell.
updated news and reports tonight saying he's not going to sign July 1st because on July 1st he's allowing teams to meet with him like Tavares did.
Tavares.
And Toronto's on that list of teams that he's willing to meet. Now, is that just for whatever?
What's the point? They already know him.
Yeah, I know exactly. But
what are they going to pitch him? We'll take the captaincy from Matthews and give it to you.
This sideshow job.
I think he just put it there to appease Toronto.
Exactly.
I think it's just to try to make Toronto, because right now Marner didn't make Toronto favors by accepting a trade when he had a no trade move, and Toronto is not going to make him a favor by signing him to 8 years and trading him, because
he doesn't want 8 years. He wants 3 to 4.
Yeah.
No, he says now it's coming out 3-4. Nick, all right now, a lot of news that comes out right now is just agents throwing news out there to see how it goes.
But he wants to follow Matthews' footsteps. So he wants to bank as much as possible.
Yeah.
So if he does like a 4-year contract, he could get 14, and he signs another contract. Look, he's good, right? He's gonna get points no matter where he goes. So he's always gonna be valuable. People are always gonna want to overpay for him.
I don't know.
And as the cap goes up, the percentage of the cap, he's going to make more.
He's
and more
betting
and more.
on himself.
That's just greedy. Like a $14 million, like take it and run for 4 years. But that's me.
That's
makes no money?
Because all three of us combined don't make a million.
Okay, so I'm gonna a few awards that were handed out after our last episode.
all three of us combined don't even make half.
Carberry basically won Coach of the
Maybe
Year,
make
so it
200
makes it that he won Coach of the Year in the ECHL in 2014, AHL Coach of the Year in 2021, and Coach of the Year this year. And Lane Hudson won the Calderwood Rookie of the Year, and it wasn't really close. I don't know. I don't know how much there is to say about this, but
I thought it was interesting that Lane Hudson ran away with the voting. I was expecting it to be a lot closer, like Michkov getting first place votes and Celebrini getting first place votes, and like Lane Hudson ran away with it.
yeah, because Montreal made the playoffs. If Montreal doesn't make the playoffs, he doesn't run away. Doesn't run away with it.
I
In
think
my
it has
opinion.
more to do with position because he's a defenseman and he got all those points. It helps him. And like
Position
you said,
is a
the
big
cherry
part
on
of it, yeah.
the cherry on top is the playoffs. Yeah,
Yeah, I think the playoffs put it that this was a landslide for Lane Hudson. But if he didn't make the playoffs, I think Wolf's votes were still going to be closer. I still think Lane Hudson deserved it.
I'm surprised
But,
Celebrini wasn't second on that ballot.
Yeah,
But
well, maybe with his injury.
hey, look, some people voted very strangely throughout all these awards. To be honest,
Yeah, if you get a vote, you might as well use
I think
it
Nick
to.
Suzuki got a heart vote.
No, he got a Selke vote.
No, he got a
First
number, he
place
got a,
Selke.
he got a first place heart vote MVP
Yeah, but
by
this is-
one reporter. It wasn't even from Montreal.
Are you sure?
I swear.
I didn't see that.
He came
Alright.
out and admitted who he was. So
And
I believe you.
Yeah, but because everything is public now.
that's it.
And finally,
We have a trade to announce.
During the Stanley Cup Finals, how dare you?
no, Batman will not be happy with this. Kreider trade to Anaheim. Fantasy wise, is he in a better place now than he was with the New York Rangers? Nick,
Well,
you
I
own
think-
him. So
I owned him, but I traded him away, and now he's going to move to a city. And you know what happens when I trade away a player? He's going to explode. So I'm expecting first line deployment. So Elliot Friedman actually mentioned this. He goes, for Quenneville or for whoever it is to convince Kreider to waive that no trade clause in order to go to Anaheim, there are some assurances that were made to him. And those assurances could mean top power play time, could mean top 6 minutes, maybe playing with Zegras.
Short-handed.
Short-handed.
He's going to play penalty kill for sure. And I think this is what Anaheim needs now. You know,
Fantasy-wise,
they
straight.
have their young guys now. So like let's surround them with some vets, right? And Vince was bang on last year when he called the regression.
you know it.
And I'm gonna have an early hot take here. I'm calling a bounce back.
Yeah.
I'm calling a bounce back for Chris Kreider because he did play with multiple injuries throughout the year.
And he
that
played
slowed
on
him
a
down.
team that was absolutely discombobulated
it was a
by,
train
their,
wreck.
by their general manager.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is your odd man rush.
Wow, that was long.
I was going to rate bounce back.
Odd Man Rush.
The fastest game on the ice just hit another gear. Welcome to the Stanley Cup Finals, where legends are made and every shift could turn into a tide. And now, with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can take every slap shot, breakaway, and overtime thriller to the next level. New to the betting of the Stanley Cup Finals, you're in for an exciting time. Getting started is a breeze. Fire up the DraftKings Sports app, pick your team to win, lock in your wager, and you're off to the races. It's fast, simple, and puts you right in the middle of the action. Basically, I'm looking at the Sports Game Sportsbook. I'm looking at the odds, and because I think we're all in agreement that this Stanley Cup Finals can go into Game 7,
I wanted to.
Draisaitl as a Conn Smythe winner is at plus 700.
Really?
He scored some clutch
Plus,
goals.
he scored 4 overtime goals. So if Edmonton brings this to 7, I feel he'll be clutch in Game 6 and 7. So to me, a safe bet would be, listen, if you think Edmonton's winning the Stanley Cup, put it as Draisaitl to win the Conn Smythe.
Just
That's
gave
my
me the
thing.
shivers there when you said
So
Edmonton's
here's
gonna
the
win Stanley
kicker.
Cup.
New customers who bet just $5 will score $300 in bonus bets if their wager hits. That's right. Turn $5 into a Stanley Cup final payout.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
All right, Junior, this is your segment, the Partial Breakaway Podcast Battle Royale Playoff Pool Roundup.
I'm pretty sure there's only been like one game played since the last time we had an episode because, there's like 14 days break in between each game.
You sound bitter.
But yeah, the standings remain the same. Listener Rooks, Wifey Rooks is in first place. She's got a much smaller lead. Listener Umbi has climbed up the ranks and is 4.9 points behind. So this should be an interesting race to the end. Listener Tino has straight away, if you will. He hung in there, but straight away to 21.6 points, but not quite far enough further than Nick, who here is still holding the rear, 28.6 points behind. However, you did lower the gap. You were like 30 plus points behind. You had a pretty good final so far.
I like lowering gaps.
And let's not forget that this is the conference final. This last round was from the conference final and Stanley Cup final, so which is why you saw a little bit of fluctuation. Why Nick started from behind. He had a rough.
Do I have a chance?
No.
This
This is solely between Listener Rooks and Listener Umbi.
Yeah, I think I overplayed my hand by picking half of one team that didn't actually make it to the finals.
Yeah, but if you look at it the other way, if they would have made it, you would have.
I would have been.
You would have had a really good.
I would have had a chance. Sorry,
a really good chance.
Yeah,
And those.
that's why I never follow listener Vince's.
And this is the final update
strategies.
until we have a winner.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys. Well, I mean, Vince, you've had the same amount of parties as I had this summer. Whether it's confirmations, communions, weddings,
I wasn't invited to any of them.
baptisms. But you know what? The one thing they all had in common is they all had ANC photo booths. It's an ANC photo booth is for an unforgettable experience at your big events, professional photo booth services with discount if you tell them you're part of the Partial Breakaway family.
And that's important.
Yes. So if you want to reach out to them, you go to you can visit them at acphotobooths.ca or on their Instagram at ancphotobooths. Give them a shout. Tell them Partial Breakaway sent you, and they're definitely going to hook you up. And just to give you a sneak peek of what they can offer, their newest novelty, which is the same thing. I don't know why I said that. Newest and novelty. Anyways, they now have dry ice machines and cold spark machines. So that's pretty cool. The cold spark machine is those like big sparks you see when you walk in. So if you want to feel like a wrestler at an event as you get introduced, you can ask them for that. So
They will give you a discount if you say that Partial Breakaway podcast, and you're helping out the podcast as well.
Yeah. So ANC Photo Booths, give them a shout. They're your hookup for your events.
All right, guys, here we go.
Let me talk to you.
The crux of the episode, although half the episode is already done. We are looking at certain players. And let me explain this exercise. So basically,
Yeah, you definitely. because
Yeah,
that's
talk to me.
3 times you explained to me, still don't understand it, but go.
doesn't take much. When I make decisions on my Project Llama team, okay, because we draft entry-level players. So in this 2025 entry-level draft, we're going to be drafting, I think it's coming up soon in July, the Llama draft. Mm-hmm. I think I put it in my somewhere.
19th, I think.
Somewhere in my calendar. When we make decisions in our Dynasty Fantasy League drafts, I always look at certain categories that are fantasy relevant. So, for example, what gives you the most points in fantasy, Vince?
Goals.
Perfect. So the best shooters of this draft class are important for fantasy. What creates a lot of chances sometimes? Not all the time, but sometimes.
Great skating.
Right. So if you're the fastest player in the draft, chances are is that you might blow by some defenders and get some chances. I mean, if you're Paul Byron, it doesn't go in, but it still doesn't matter.
You still created a chance.
Used to create a chance. So, like, Demidov, what's he really, really good at?
He's got great hands
Great hands.
and vision.
So stick handling, IQ, right? These are other things that I look at when I'm doing my fantasy draft. The reason why I'm mentioning all these is because we're going to run down for you some top 5 names from this draft. And some of these names will be repeated because somebody that has good stick handling could also be the fastest player in the draft. And maybe that's why he's going top 10 in the actual NHL draft rather than bottom 10 of the first round, right? So we're just going to mention some names here and give you the category that they fall in and go from there.
I'm down. Let's
that
go.
clear?
Let's go. What are we starting with, Nick?
Who has the list in front of them?
I
Junior does because Junior is the person in charge of these things.
Perfect. Go for it.
All right. So let's start with. All right.
How about best shooter?
Let's
I
start.
think this is the most important.
Let's start with the best shooter.
All right.
Okay. If you had to guess,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Where we're getting this information from, Elite Prospects does a really good thing on their draft guide. Guys, go out and I would suggest that you buy their draft guide. Their draft guide is absolutely amazing. It only costs 1 month of EP Premium, and then you get to download the draft guide from there. AP is, Elite Prospects is a great website. We're also taking some information here from The Athletic. They have guys like Scott Wheeler, Corey Pronman that do lists, and you'll see that we're going to be mentioning this during our live show during the draft, which is coming in 2 weeks.
Which Nick will be there with a special guest.
I will be hosting that with a special guest because these two bums are taking vacation during the most important show of the year. And Victor Nuno was right before that. So we're going to be talking all kinds of draft rankings for the next few weeks now, leading up to the draft. So getting you ready for your fantasy dynasty drafts as well. Let's go. Best shooter. You want us to guess some names?
Do you want to guess who the best shooter of this draft is? I don't think you'll get it, but maybe you'll surprise me.
Last year, was it Cole Eiserman?
There's a good chance it was Cole Eiserman last year.
All right. Well, this year, who would you say that it would be?
What is the stats he had? I would say Michael Misa, but it's a bit too obvious.
And
He's on the list, but he's not number 1.
really?
He's number 5.
He's number 5 on the
Number
list.
5.
Okay, I'm gonna go with, and I'm not cheating. I'm not looking. Shoot, I am. All right, I'm gonna go with Porter Matone.
No, but he's on the list. Porter Martone is number 4 on this list.
Okay, so we're going backwards here, which is great because me and you are basically picking. So
Okay, let me tell you about Cameron Schmidt.
He's 5 foot
In
nothing.
NHL scouting, he's 5'8", 160 pounds, right wing from Vancouver in the Western Hockey League. In Central Scouting, NHL Central Scouting, he's 43rd North American skater.
Right, not even a first round prospect.
So, right. But for fantasy purposes, he can become a power play specialist. Patrick Laney last year showed that other than the power play, he wasn't super effective production-wise, right? Offensively. So,
But for fantasy, we
but
don't
was
care.
still relevant fantasy-wise. So that's where Cameron Schmid comes into play, maybe over a guy like, I don't know, that's maybe going to be drafted in the first round, but that doesn't have that offensive potential. So do you guys want to add something on Cameron Schmid before we...
Well, I'll mention that I did have him in mock draft 1.0, which we did last week. I had drafted him in the first round, late first round, as a flyer. Obviously, his
as
size.
like a Philadelphia Flyer, or
No. That's good though. I like what you did there. All right, be quiet now. But when you're talking about a player that has the best shot in the draft, Cole Caulfield had a very, very good shot. He put it together for almost 40 goals this year. So, you want a guy that shoots a lot. You want a guy that puts the goals because, like Vince very aptly explained during the introduction of the segment, that gives you the most points.
Yeah, listen, he scored 40 goals. He was 10th. He was ranked 10th overall with Elite Prospects in the mid-January 2025 rankings. But in the Bob McKenzie mid-season rankings, he was ranked 30th.
Yeah.
So there's
Where did he go in our 1.0?
I believe it was you that selected him 31st to Calgary.
Ah, Calgary.
I got I put left wing. Turns out he's a right winger.
But for people who, like Nick says, are in a dynasty league and are drafting only entry, we're looking at this fantasy-wise where he can be a very good pickup mid-round in the first round because he does have that offensive prowess that we need.
So I have the 17th pick in Lama. I'm going to consider this player.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the thing. Especially in drafts that are not deep, you want some of your picks to have an elite trait that can translate, and best shot in the draft will certainly translate. All right. At number 2 is the Swedish phenom. My crush of the draft, Anton Frundell.
Really? Number 2 best shot.
Yeah, who we mocked him at
is a
number
league
4
prospects?
to the Utah Mammoth. The Utah Mammoth.
The Utah Mirage.
So yeah, based to elite prospects, best shot is Anton Frundell, number 2, second best shot.
Very nice.
At number 3, we have, this one's good too. I don't think you guys would have expected this. He's scheduled to be mid-first round draft pick. We mocked him to the Montreal Canadiens, Justin Carabono,
Very nice.
Wow.
as the third best shot of the draft. And then
Are you excited?
Listen, I don't think whoever they draft there is going to be a top 6 player on the Montreal
Really?
team. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
And then what? Porter Martone at
Little negative Nancy here.
4th best
see.
shot, and Michael Meese at the 5th best shot.
Bam, bam, bam.
Very nice. Junior, what is the next category that you would say would be fantasy
Ooh,
relevant?
give me best hands, man. Best hands.
And you know what? I want to preface this because
Shoot.
a lot of people are going to say, well, if you don't have the best shot, how fantasy relevant are you, right? You could stick handle and dangle in a phone booth. You could get by a goalie. You could get by defenders. You could create chances. You don't need to have the best shot necessarily, right? It's always helpful to have both. So maybe some of the names are going to be repeated here, but guys like Demidov are elite stick handlers, not necessarily elite shot from last year's draft. So you have to kind of compare apples to apples, and I wanted to preface why stick handling is so important.
Okay, this is going to be a good one. You know this player. He's got the best hands in this draft, but he's not scheduled to go in the top 10. And no, I can't
We
give
can
you
do guesses, right?
I can't give you the next clue, but yeah, so he's scheduled to go after the top 10.
Okay, well, that's not... So there's 20 players I could choose from.
Yeah. Okay, he's scheduled to go mid of the pack.
Roger McQueen.
No. But he's on the list.
Yeah.
He's on the list at number 4.
Wow, he's the list on number 4. We're good at choosing the bottom of the list.
I just said McQueen because my son's favorite movie is Cars. So I said, let's just go with
This is
that.
the cutest thing you've ever said on
I
this
know. Huh?
podcast.
Come on, pick a name.
I'm tearing up.
Hurry up.
I'm going to go with Porter Martone.
Porter Martone is number 2 on this list.
That's pretty good.
Porter Martone is number 2 best hands.
By the way,
Guys,
I just want to say, we have not actually looked at this list, Vince and I. So we do not have the list in front of us. I do not know who these players are.
I didn't even know there was a list until they announced it.
so to Vince's surprise, in particular, a player we've already mentioned in the other list of the best shot, Justin Carbonneau,
Jesus
has the
Christ,
best
this guy's-
hands of this draft.
This guy's
Wow.
won first overall.
Yep. Best hands of this draft.
So fantasy-wise, again, you might be
seems like
looking
a
at a
legit option.
top 10 player maybe in this draft. I don't know.
I can see him being
real
as a
life-
top 10 fantasy hockey pick. In your dynasty leagues, he's probably going to go top 10.
Yeah, I mean, real life, again, he could end up 15. And guys, it's actually very important to note this. After they get drafted, look at the team that they're going to, because some teams just don't develop well. Like the New York Rangers do not develop well. So you don't want to have a player necessarily, like it might drop in my rankings if he goes to the New York Rangers, as opposed to somebody going to a team that does develop well. Maybe a San Jose, maybe a, just keep that in mind.
I can't find his name. Okay. Definitely, that's definitely true. Then we've got Porter Martone at 2. James Higgins at number 3. Best hands. Roger McQueen at 4. And Alexander Jarofsky.
Jarofsky, where is he projected to go?
That's what I was trying to find on international skaters, but he's not ranked high on Central Scouting. Anyways,
Okay, how do I spell him?
you spell it like this, Nick: ZHAROVSKY.
According to Scott Wheeler, it's his 41st best prospect. 6'1" right winger. He's actually the 6th right winger, according to Scott Wheeler, in this draft. From 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Highly talented winger who scores beautiful individual goals in the MHL and has skills in bunches. Very interesting.
He ranked number 5 in European skaters.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, got it. All right, moving on up to. So we did the best shot. We did the best hand, so best playmaker. An additional skill to a playmaker is vision and hockey IQ. I like this one. This is one of my favorites. So
I'm just going to, again, preface.
Intelligente. That's what it means. They're intelligente.
I'm glad you went to Italian school.
Unlike
So at the end of the day, guys like Cole Perfetti, one of the smartest, he didn't have the skating, didn't necessarily have the best playmaking, didn't necessarily have the best shot, but his IQ was so high up there that he turned it into being a productive NHLer. I mean, at the end of this year, really showed a lot from Perfetti. So I'm expecting him to take another step forward, and I traded him away as well in Lama, so he's going to take another step forward. What can you tell me about IQ and vision?
do you guys want to play that guessing game
Let's
again?
do the
or-
guessing game.
All
I
right.
like this game.
So there's, I'll give you one hint. There's 2 new players that we haven't mentioned that are on this list that are projected to go. One's projected to be top 10. One's projected to be.
I want
top
number 1.
fi-
Where's
top-
number 1? Number 1. Do we name
Number 1? You should know. Well, you should
Go.
know. You definitely
Go.
know the player.
Go.
Well, no, that
He's a top 5 pick,
player I wasn't gonna say, but
and I think he'll surprise you when you find out.
Just say
who it is.
whatever you want to guess. You don't have to pick number 1.
I'd say Michael Misa.
Michael Misa is not on this list.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to go with Caleb DeYuani.
One day you'll pronounce that right.
I will not.
Caleb
Desjoigny.
Desnoyers is number 5.
At least I got on the list.
Number 1, who we mocked to the Chicago Blackhawks at 3, Porter Martoni.
Wow.
Yeah, best vision, best hockey IQ. Number 2 is a player I think we all like, Jake O'Brien.
Yes. Yeah.
Jake O'Brien. Number 3, James Higgins. Number 4, Cameron Schmid.
Cameron
So
Schmid
now,
again, eh?
if I
Yeah.
was someone listening, now Cameron Schmid, he's on my, he was a guy that I wasn't even thinking about.
Justin
now,
Cabernet and Cameron Schmid are both on the list
Bingo.
of fantasy
multiple
wise.
times.
Bingo.
Yeah, multiple times.
Cameron Schmid at number 4, and Caleb Desnoyers, number 5, best vision, according to, of course, Elite Prospect, which is one of the best sources for this stuff. So
Absolutely.
you could take their word for it.
And really get their draft guide. It's really,
Are we
really
surprised
extensive.
How many of these lists don't have Misa?
Well, maybe the next list will. We'll see.
So what did we say was next? Best motor?
Let's go with best motor, because best motor I find is important. It's the player that doesn't stop. And usually when you're looking at development of a player, the players that don't stop and they keep going will also practice harder, will also be the ones that skyrocket maybe faster in their projections because they're high motor, right? Like Brad Marchand comes to mind, right? Players that just don't ever stop going at it. And so go ahead, let's do this game with our top motors,
All right. So on the top best
not F1 motors, which I was at the F1 by the way on Friday. anyways.
So yeah, but what an event, by the way. Also,
fun.
Lando Norris, what a dumbass.
Yes, and he admitted it.
He admitted it. Yeah, but
The race actually was like uneventful until that crash.
yeah, too bad though that the safety car couldn't just leave us one more lap. But
Yeah.
anyhow, enough F1 talk. Best motor. So this, like we said, endurance and forechecking ability. a non-stop motor. There's 3 new names on this list.
Okay.
3 new names, which I guess is not surprising, and 2 top 5 picks. So out of the 3 names that we added, they range from mid of the pack to after top 10. And then the 2 names that are, I think we've mentioned them already, are top 5.
All right. I'm going to go with Jake O'Brien.
Jake O'Brien is not on this list.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take a risk too, Nick, and say a name I never said before. Carter Barrow.
Ding, ding, ding!
Bam!
Number 1 on the list. We should have played freaking Family Feud,
We
but maybe not so many categories.
Yeah,
but
maybe not. So why
Carter
is Carter Barrow number 1, Junior?
I have this. It's not the same, but
The price
we get flag.
is right. We actually mocked Carter Bear at 13 to the Detroit Red Wings.
And he's ranked what in I think he's ranked 9th in elite prospects.
Carter Bear is a really good pick here.
Listen, from what
He's going to surprise people.
he's got a high skill motor. His forechecking is relentless.
He's actually NHL scouting. He's ranked 10th.
He's a relentless forechecker, which at the end of the day, they tell you go in those dirty areas. That's where you're going to get your points.
And when in a draft where there's less like elite talent, these are the guys that they have high floors. Basically, like they're going to make the NHL, but they might have a middle 6 role instead of top 6 role.
He's ranked 14th according to Scott Wheeler.
Nice.
Carter Bear is number 1.
Could beat you with his work ethic.
We haven't named Schaefer yet for one of these things, huh?
Wait. Okay,
No,
wait.
but I'm just saying he's number 1 going first overall, and we haven't named him in any categories yet.
It could be that defensemen are different, right? I mean, they might not be on these forward-heavy lists.
Well, he's on this list.
Oh, there you go.
He's on this list at number 5.
Segue.
Oh my God.
He's on this list at Matthew Schaefer, number 5 best motor. At number 4, we have Braden Cootes, or is it Coots? Coots. Braden Coots.
I call him Coots.
Number 3, Michael
best
Misa.
friends.
So Michael Misa
Michael
reappears
Misa's
on the top 5 list
There you
here.
go.
Number 2, the Swede. Nope, not Frundell. Victor Eklund.
Oh, very nice.
Victor Eklund, and like we said, Carter Bear is at number 1.
All right.
Very nice.
Did we have the highest ceiling, or
Well, let's leave that for last. I want to go offensive defenseman here. You have that one?
Yes, that's good. Okay, well, this one's gonna be a little easier. I'm not even gonna ask you who number 1 is. I think that's pretty clear. Matthew Schaefer is number 1.
Okay.
The rest of this list has yet to be mentioned in any category. Who wants to take a crack at number? Who wants to take a crack at number 2?
Look at my name.
Don't cheat with ChatGTP. Do
Chat-
not cheat.
Chat-
Is that how you got Carter Bear?
No.
Wow. I'm
Just
so
give me the
disappointed in
names
you
of
right
the
now.
People.
I'm so disappointed.
Who
in
wants
you.
to go with number 2?
I'm going in number 1. Freak.
What the hell is this name?
I'm going to go Aitchison.
Oh,
He's on the list.
You cheated.
No, I know. Aitchison.
He's on the list, but he's not number 2. He's number 4.
Okay.
Sean Aitchison, and we had him mocked to the Rangers at 12.
Okay, but Vince's doesn't count right now.
I don't need. Look what
He
it
might
gives
not
me.
even get it.
It gives me Matthew
Actually,
Schaefer.
ChatGTP.
Matthew Schaefer's number 1, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's why.
ChatGTP is not accurate all the time, by the
No,
way.
thanks. I know. Trust me. I tried.
70% of the time, it's accurate all the time.
I don't even know who.
Gene, you ain't first. You're last.
Okay, stop Googling and just pick a name.
I'm trying to see who are the D-men in the 2025 entry draft.
I always think Carter Bear is a D-man until I realize that I'm just thinking about past drafts.
Why past drafts?
Because there's a Bear that played... Isn't there a Bear that played...
Ethan Bear.
Ethan Bear. that's it.
Defenseman. Okay, so here's a hint. One of these defensemen's, 2 of them, because we already mentioned Schaefer. This guy was It was mocked in the top 8.
I'll go with Carson Cameron.
It's not Carson Cameron.
Okay.
There is a Cameron, but it's not Carson Cameron. It's
Cameron Reed?
Cameron Reed.
See how I remember that?
He's number 3 on this list of best offensive defensemen. We mocked him to
Offensive defenseman, right?
Yeah, offensive defenseman. He's ranked number 3 according to Elite Prospects, and we mocked him to the Columbus Blue Jackets at 14.
Well, Cameron Reed is left-handed defenseman, 6 foot tall, 183 pounds, and according to Scott Wheeler, 19th on his list.
At number 2, Vince mocked him, I believe, to the Seattle Kraken at 8. Jackson Smith.
Oh man, completely forgot that guy was in the draft. Man,
Jackson Smith. Nick, I don't know if you have any additional...
Of course I do. I just have to... I just want to make sure that I get...
So to sum up, we have...
17th,
Go ahead.
according to Scott Wheeler on his list. 6'4", 199. Big boy.
Big.
Big boy.
He could skate too.
Yeah.
He also, we're not talking about it, but he also cracked the list for best puck moving defenseman at number 3. So we got Cameron Reed at 3, Kashawn Aitchison at 4, and Radim Murtka.
Wow.
He makes the cut to number 5.
You know, he's projected to go like top 10 right now, but he wasn't at the beginning of this exercise. He just keeps going up in lists.
So guys, just to give you an idea of Jackson Smith here, he's number 2 as best offensive defenseman. He's
Offensive.
Offensive defenseman. So Jackson Smith, number 2 offensive defenseman. Number 3 at best puck moving defenseman. And number 4 with the highest floor.
I like that. Okay, so let's move on. Let's a good segue to the highest floor.
Oh, I thought we were doing ceiling. Okay, so I didn't think we were doing floor. We're
Well,
doing
let's
floor?
just do it because you know what? This is actually a lot of
So
fun.
highest floor, we'll skip the guessing.
No, we're guessing.
Oh, we're guessing.
But this is the only reason I want to do this podcast.
All right. So number 4, highest floor. Guys, I've said Jackson Smith at 4. He would have been the hardest guess, the most difficult guess. So you got 4 options left. You should know them all.
Okay.
They're all
So highest
top 10
floor.
picks.
So meaning the guy least likely to bust.
Matthew Schaefer.
Matthew Schaefer is at number 2.
I know he's number 1.
Misa.
Michael Misa is number 1.
Ding, 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 ding. Let's go. No.
No, it
You
wasn't
won't do
the
it this
first
time?
guess. It wasn't the first guess. This one was easy. At number 3, we got Caleb Denoyer.
And James Higgins.
And number 5, Anton Frondel.
Frondell.
Wow.
So basically they're saying there's a little risk here with Higgins. I guess.
Frondell really jumped the rankings, huh?
Yeah.
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 I
From
mean,
when the
but
first
actually,
ranking came
hockey
out, to now.
prospecting
Prospect-
has him as like 99% of being
Yes,
a
that-
star.
Elite Prospects actually has him very low on their list
Okay.
as overall. Now we're talking about floor, right?
Floor, yeah.
And sometimes when you're drafting in a fantasy draft, you if it's a very deep fantasy draft, you want the floor guys, the guys that have very high floors, because those are the guys that most likely are going to make the NHL. So even though they're not going to be the top of the top, at least you're getting points out of someone.
Exactly.
And
Now
Out
that
of
leads
those-
us to the highest ceiling.
yeah, out of those 5 though, most of them are going to be, other than Jackson Smith, the other 4 are top 10 picks in your fantasy.
They're getting
draft.
drafted
Yeah,
in.
in dynasty leagues. All right, highest ceilings.
Let's do it.
All right, so we cracking number 1 or what?
I'll let you guess first. No chat GDP this time.
What am I looking at?
Highest ceiling. So the one that has the
person
highest
that has
potential.
the most chances of becoming
A
the
star.
superstar.
And it's nobody that we named.
No, it's definitely someone we
It's
named.
definitely-
Okay.
We've named every single person on this list at least once.
High ceiling, high ceiling, high ceiling.
I'll tell you, there's... Okay, I'll leave it
You
for
don't
after.
say nothing. I'm going to go off the board and say Martone.
Porter Martone, eh?
Porter Martone is number 2 on this list.
Wow.
Porter Martone is number 2 of the highest ceiling according to Elite
And he was
Prospects.
going to Chicago.
He's going to Chicago.
And
draft.
our mock draft.
And the more we
1.0.
talk about this, the more it makes sense.
Guys, you gotta go listen to our mock draft 1.0. It was a great episode.
Number 1, want to take a crack?
Okay,
Crack at it.
I could have said Misa. I could have said Schaefer. I'm gonna go with Misa.
The surprise. Misa is not on this list.
What?
Why? Yeah, Michael Misa is not on this list. So what does that tell you guys?
What a way to end the episode.
What does that tell you about Michael Misa?
That there's bust potential.
Or no, but he's got a high floor.
Oh, no,
He's got the highest floor.
He
So
might
that's-
not turn out to be the best in this draft class 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line.
Yeah, he might just be steady Eddie, maybe second line score 40 goals or whatever.
Who's
But
that? Frondell?
so we got Matthew Schaefer is number 1,
Number one,
highest ceiling.
Yeah, makes sense.
Porter Martone number 2. Michael Misa number 4. Oh, wait.
You said Michael
You
Misa
said he's
wasn't
not
on the
on
list.
this list. This is an hour into the episode.
Sorry,
guys.
there's too many lists all I want. So highest ceiling, Michael Misa's number 4. Apologies. So ignore everything I just
Who's
said.
number 3?
I'll get to it in a second. Number 5, James Higgins. I want you guys to take a crack at number 3. He's not projected to be like a top 10 pick. Maybe 8, 9, 10, depending if a team picks him there. But
Highest ceiling.
highest ceiling. I like this a lot, but there's a lot of risk with this player.
Can I just look at the...
Are you ChatGPT?
No, I'm not ChatGPT. Go.
I have a guess.
Let me just check what the players are for the...
Your son's favorite car.
Roger McQueen.
Roger freaking McQueen.
His name's been popping up more and more.
But
His injuries
if it
are
wasn't for his
pushing him down.
injury,
Yeah.
you would be in the conversation for top 3 pick.
Roger McQueen, number 3, highest ceiling according to Elite Prospects.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I just want to reiterate, Michael Misa is on this list of highest ceiling. He's ranked number 4. Apologies, I didn't look at that right. So Michael Misa, Matthew Schaefer are both on the list of highest floor and highest ceiling. Make of that what you will. They're also
think
scheduled to go 1 and 2 in this draft.
I think that's why. Guys, I hope that exercise actually really helps you in your drafts because I thought that was a fun exercise.
That was actually fun. We should do a little bit
You
of
mean an
that
exercise
trivia.
that you already looked at all the answers and then made it look like you didn't look at the answers?
No, I
And
do
then
not have
blame
any
Chat
list here.
GPT.
I have no
Not over
list
here, but you had the book before.
I didn't read the whole thing.
All right, while me and
this whole
Coco
thing.
argue over here, I will tell you to please
ChatGPT.
follow us
That's
right.
on the
Cheater.
socials
You
at
just don't like it
Partial
that I called
Break
you out.
Pod.
I'm going to replace you with
On
AI.
Instagram, X, TikTok at Partial Break Pod. Instagram, X, TikTok at Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey on YouTube. Like and subscribe, please. And more importantly, you'll find our audio on Spotify, Apple, any podcast platform, you name it, we're there. Download and follow us on there too so that you get automatic downloads every week. That goes a long way to help us bring you the information you need, like we just did.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for tuning in.
Enjoy your week, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see you
Victor
next
Nuno
week.
next week.
Victor Nuno!